Jake, what's your last name?
VOGL.
Oh. Okay. Alright. Let's start with the approval of last month's minutes that Susan wrote. Thankfully. She's good for that. Or that was good of her is what I mean. Were there any comments or edits or suggestions?
I was gone all day. I really didn't have a chance to review it.
You okay? All right.
I had no objection to something I didn't see.
All right. Do I hear a motion then to?
Second.
Okay. The next item is the MOU with the selectmen. Leaf, I'm hoping you also didn't have time to look at it.
No.
Okay, great. And I was looking all through my car. I thought I made notes on it. It's probably on my kitchen table. The only thing that we'll probably try to include after a conversation with the selectmen and the budget committee is thinking about a way that the town can just do all of the bathrooms, like at the same, like the town just pays for the bathrooms, and then, you know, we reimburse the town, or it comes out of our account. That was something that Ed thought would be a good idea, and that we thought would be a good idea because it might ease kind of the I don't know, the annoyance, frustration with the library staff. So I think that was the only thing on the MOU that I was thinking about including as kind of like operations. But when I actually have it in front of me, we'll come back to it in January.
Yeah.
I guess. All right. The next thing is the budget. So if you, I don't have one in front of me. I have it on my computer. I will just say I think we had a really positive experience with the budget committee, with the selectmen. I think it was, good conversations, good discussion. I think it was respectful. I was impressed with the process. That said, the budget committee, we had some disagreements about two of the line items, and that was the media subscriptions. So we recommended $2,100, which is based off of $100 a month for the library to purchase media for the library, but also all of the subscription services that the library provides. The selectmen agreed with that. The budget committee instead took $900 out of the media budget, which makes it a little difficult to, I mean, if we did that, then we're left with, what, like $50 a month for the library purchases?
Which, thankfully, there's the accounts that you can pull from for media, but
Yeah, some
Not-
small potato stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, which they might have assumed like all the gross basis would go into the media subscription, which is understandable, but that still leaves us a little below where we want to be. And the other item that they cut, was utilities electric. So we base that off of like real numbers, looking at our monthly bills, and they took $300 off of that. So they kept it at last year's funding, but electricity prices have doubled since last year's budget, so
Wow.
that's an issue. And then the wages, so they're looking at where we are right now in the spending, which we're at this point we're probably 9,000 out of 12,000 out of 14,000. So they cut it to 12,000. I think that's something we could. It's not ideal. It doesn't allow us to kind of pursue our strategic plan of increasing hours or experimenting with best hours. So kind of the bottom line is the budget is still up from where it was last year, and the gross basis is down. So those are two good. That's good. That's progress. We would have to decide if at deliberative session we want to challenge that and add a few more $100 back to our budget to pay for the media subscriptions and the electric. And I think that's something we should maybe think about doing. I mean, at least electric and the media, because those are things that make the library operable. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on.
And wages.
Yeah,
And wages.
I don't see their reasoning in taking utility budget down.
Yeah,
I
that
just
one was
don't
strange.
get that. What world do they live in?
Yeah.
And everybody agreed on that?
I didn't see how they didn't announce, like, you know, if it was a 2-1 vote or a.
I didn't know
Yeah.
about it until 2 days later
Yeah.
that he cut the budget of the library when I asked Cindy about it. I wasn't pleased about it.
Do you have a sense about what the other town departments are going through? I mean, was this
I think they cut 2 budgets. Yours and I can't remember the other one.
police?
So, I do want to say, like, you know, Terry Knowles, I think that was her name, the new director of training, I'm pretty darn sure she mentioned in the law that a town can't cut a library's budget unless they prove that they've taken it off the same of all departments.
The highway got cut.
Yeah.
The highway
But it has to be
cut
a
big.
percentage.
Do you know if that was cut from the proposed budget or cut from the year's previous voted budget?
I don't know.
Yeah. Because technically, I guess it's still an increase. So it'd be interesting to know what their interpretation. I can ask
I guess
Terry,
so.
or not Terry, but her replacement.
But I mean, like, proportionally, the restrooms are really taking up a lot of what we could have used elsewhere, you know?
And to Ed's credit, one of his ideas was if we have some money left over in this year's budget, which we do, to consider purchasing a new porta potty, which would reduce the rental fees next year.
Do it before January 1st.
Yeah, it means that we, you know, now own that porta potty. So if it were damaged or something, we, you know, it's not included
Which
in the leasing.
is likely to be at some point.
Yeah.
So, just so you guys know, the vendor that I was talking about, the $150 a month, it's actually weekly cleanings. And that company is Ron's John's, so
Yeah.
don't use that. But I don't
Yeah.
They'll come every Friday, not during open business hours.
And how much does a new potty cost? About?
It's about $900.
That's what Ed says.
That's what Ed said. Yeah. I don't know. One of my thoughts is, you know, just to cover our butts right now, we want to vote to purchase a porta potty up to, you know, say $1,000, and then we can look at, you know, we don't have to come back to it. We can look at it in between now and January 1st. Yeah.
I mean,
Do you know, would Ron's John's service a non-Ron John's porta potty?
so before I had talked to them about just cleaning services, and it's $70 per cleaning. And I think they did want to be on like a continual consistent basis.
So that's pretty much the same price, right? As they just rented. If we just rented one from them, if they did it weekly.
It's actually cheaper to rent it from them.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
what I'm thinking. Right.
Which is interesting.
How much are we paying now for porta potty cleaning?
So
It's like
it was
$40 a month, right?
$35 a month with no, you know, antifreezing, the sort of chemicals added. But then
40.
he has varying fees, but I don't recommend going back to that vendor. So
What did you ask for on the budget for the porta potty?
We had a little over $2,000.
1380 with buying a toilet at 900.
Right.
Then that's
And then
12
assuming-
months of just $35. It's like 1380.
Right.
But
If-
if they jack
if
the
we
price,
ha-
it's gonna be like 1600.
Right.
Well, but you're talking about purchasing the porta potty with this year's budget.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And our current porta potty purveyor has not been back in a while, right? Is he kind of
No,
protesting?
I can't get him to come back. I did, tell him that follow up with me if you still don't receive payment, and he never does. He waits until I give him a call for service, and then he screams at me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand how he's the one who does the other town units.
I don't know how often I don't know.
Yeah.
And they had a different deal from what he had given us, or what he had quoted us.
Yeah.
He quoted me one thing, he billed us another, and then he billed the rest of the town another. But he quoted me on the phone, so.
Who handles does the highway department do their own porta potty down at the transfer station? Like Sarah doesn't manage that stuff, right?
No, the recycling center has that pumped.
Who, what?
The recycling center has it pumped.
By,
I have no idea who they have do it.
And I do want to point out, like, it might work for other departments to not have it cleaned frequently. But
Well-
we're in a closely residential area, and we have paid employees,
Yeah.
which,
No, the transfer
Legally-
station said that they have theirs cleaned twice a month, I think is what they said.
yeah.
And the Huff Beach one gets cleaned regularly, and the rec field ones don't get cleaned enough. So it's just funny that we have all these town units,
Yeah.
and they're all the same provider, and yet there's a vastly different.
It should be all one
schedule.
account, one schedule, I would think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I can look into this more and at least pursue the town, assuming responsibility for all of them. Yeah, to be safe, how do we feel about purchasing a unit versus?
Well, if it's really truly more inexpensive to rent one, why would you stick with that?
It's it does seem to be it's a little cheaper to own it. Like,
Should be cheaper to own it, I would
Right.
think.
But if it gets damaged,
right.
the library is responsible for getting it repaired.
Yep.
If it gets damaged, the other company will come in.
Yep.
Well, and
You
how
gotta roll the
often,
dice a little bit.
how often would you guys have a cleaning schedule?
It seems like twice a month is
Yeah.
at least needed. Yeah. Okay, maybe we can. Karen, where do we stand on the budget now? Like our spending through, say, November 30th.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Okay, so we're at like 14 of the 16. We have a month to go.
Well, since we're discussing this.
So we've probably got like $2,500 left in our budget, not including December's wages, purchases, and some bills. So we probably definitely do have the money to purchase a unit if we wanted.
Well, plus we have that $1,000 donation.
Right. Boy, we hate to spend that on
I know.
Kind of flushing.
exactly. Well, how about we do? To be safe, save time, and because we don't meet until after the new year. Do I hear a motion to spend up to $1,000 on a porta potty unit and then I can keep people posted on the progress I make with the town discussion, and yeah,
That sounds like
the cleaning
a
stuff.
sane plan.
Okay. Who wants to make that?
I hope.
All right. Seconded. Okay. Great.
As far as having that taken care of, soon, should I just see if I can find another vendor that is even close to that price? I mean,
For cleaning purposes only, or
well, just this one,
oh, for
right now, like,
yeah.
because he won't come back, I don't think, I mean, I
I can-
asked him to.
Yeah, I can check with I think Allard is the one that the meeting house has been using for, so I can check with them.
Someday we're not gonna spend so much time
know,
talking
Jesus.
about.
All right, I think that's fair enough. So we'll plan. I think either way, deliberative session, we're gonna have to add some money. So deliberative session is February. Is it the second, or is it before the school or after the school?
It's after the school. It's the following Saturday after the school.
The 11th. Does that sound right?
I believe so.
Oh, you said February, right?
Yep.
The schools is the 4th, right?
I think so.
As far as would be the 11th.
Okay. Great. Library business. Kate, we start with your news.
So I resigned from my position as library director effective December 31st. I sent you guys an email, I know.
Yeah.
No, we're very sad to see you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you.
I mean, it was a tough decision. I mean, it's very multifaceted for me. I mean, I think a lot of it is, I don't think I have the ability to continue the commitment of my time and, yeah.
Combative skills.
Huh?
I said the combative skills.
Yeah, I didn't take fencing. That's a required training. Should be on the. No.
Well, I'd say it's a tough job for not a lot of pay, not a lot of hours, and some undesirable hours. So I appreciate you doing it for two years.
Yeah, just a month's job. 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and we hope that you continue to use the library and be involved with its programming and future activities. Well, I can, I don't know if I can motion, but I'll make a motion to accept Kate's resignation with regret.
Well, what happened if you denied it?
Yeah, I don't really understand. It seems like a silly formality, but
Yeah. I don't know.
No, you're stuck here.
That's kind of called.
And I do want to say too that I do feel like it's very important for the next director to be trained by a previous director.
yeah.
And that being said, I'm not opposed to putting in some hours into the new year. I just don't want the responsibility into the new year.
Yep.
So even if it's filling in some shifts or continued training or support, I'm available for that. So.
Well, thank you. That will be an easier transition for the new person than your experience coming into this. Do I hear a second on Kate's? Actually, Kate, do we want to switch up the agenda to talk about the job description while it's kind of maybe somewhat fresh
Yeah.
in your mind? I don't know if you had a chance to look it over and if you had thoughts. I know we did quite a bit of editing when you were hired to try to, it was like a 3-page long wish
Yeah.
list, which seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
From these responsibilities, do you see stuff that's especially true, less true?
I think it's all generally appropriate. Yeah. Nothing really jumped out at me as lacking or overreaching.
Yeah, I'd say the only thing that we've failed on probably is the annual performance evaluations and goal setting. I mean, strategic planning maybe could be roped into that, but that's on our plate.
And I mean, I think I prefer to kind of, at least on my end with the staff, kind of do that very micro check-ins. I don't know.
Okay. Did you have a chance to look over the? I know it's probably tougher for you to.
I did look that over, yeah, I did.
Yeah. Leaf, had you seen this?
What is that?
It's just the job description for the librarian. It seems to, I think it captures everything. I did talk to Lynn. So Lynn, Paul will stay on as library aide and help with the transition, that's great.
And she's very capable.
Yeah,
She was the director.
she did say that she would not be interested. At least to me, she thought she just wouldn't have the capacity to do all of that, and I don't think she. She doesn't like working evenings, is what she.
Yeah,
told
she
me.
prefers not to.
Yeah.
I put it in my report, but also Sandy Pearson did just contact me just yesterday and said that she'll be available for filling in temporarily, and she's pretty well trained, but probably more of like if Lynn stays for a bit, or continued, Sandy would be more like just support. So.
Okay. Yeah.
She
That's great.
specifically said Wednesday evenings and Saturday mornings. So.
Who else is in our pool of kind of trained library staff? Deb, technically, right?
I mean, we've transitioned a lot of processes.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if she would be trained in kind of the flow. But I mean,
Yeah.
It is.
Okay. All right. So we would have to. It's a building year, is what we're looking at. Either way.
But I am leaving very, very detailed training. So, in case you guys don't want me to train, it's all there.
I think that's a generous offer of you, and I'm sure
So,
we'll take you up on it,
okay.
or the new library director will take you up on it.
Alright.
Okay. All right. Do you want to talk about your report, your last report?
Okay, so we had 117 patron visits this month. Adult patron visits, 16 youth. 2 new patrons that signed up for a library card. 9 attending the book club. 6 attending the astronomy club event. 7 attending puzzle club, which totals up to 144 patron visits. We have 80 overdraft checkouts, 18 items borrowed through the ILO, 97 checkouts from our collection, And then 17 of those items are going out to other libraries for their ILL requests, which leads to, or totals to 210 total checkouts. And then we have 53 various donations, media donations. And then there's the note about Sandy Pearson, and you have the breakdown of the staff, how the staff time was used in November, and also an updated director's training summary.
Thank you.
I feel awful. Off and on 2 weeks now.
Keith, is it 6 at the Astronomy Club and 6 at Fiber Arts, or is that?
Wait a minute. Maybe. Hold on. Yes, that is correct.
Is it 6 for both, or is it
No,
one? Move
I
that
think-
down.
I think there was one. No. It's on my notes. Hold on.
I see Trick or Treat was very popular.
No, wait, I apologize. I think there was 11 at Astronomy Club, 6 at Fiber Arts. I just didn't fill it in.
Yeah, it seemed like there. I mean, there were 2 rounds of the Astronomy thing.
Yeah.
Great. That. Elena, we'll talk warrant in a second. Well, thanks, Kate. Yeah, the numbers look good. Or at least they look stable, normal.
Consistent.
Yeah, consistent. Do you want to hop to, well, we can talk warrant article if you have to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, we're hopping all over the agenda tonight. So, we talked briefly last time about looking at a warrant article for this year's town meeting to keep momentum up at the new library lot, or at the library lot at the corner. And so we had put a warrant in a couple years ago. It was non-binding because it didn't appropriate any money. It just sought to give permission to the trustees and to the Friends group to pursue building a library at that site. It passed with a simple majority, but again was not binding because of the lack of appropriated funds. So this year, we were thinking, or at least I was thinking, to make it binding, to actually keep the momentum up and start something there would be. And there were 2 questions I wanted to check with the New Hampshire Municipal Association about this. And one was, can we appropriate funds for just a partial project? You know, can it just be, you know, phase 1 of 3 phases or something like that? And they said, yes, that's fine. You know, it's up to the taxpayers to decide if they want to fund a project that they don't, you know all the, or how the next phase will be funded, or if they'll be funded, so it's a risk to take. And then the other was, there was a debate in 2020 about if the trustees actually have control over that property or if not, and there's some back and forth saying, well, the lot was donated to the town, and even though it expressly stated it's for a library building, it's town property. Or if, because, and the RSA is for the library trustees, it says, the library trustees shall have the entire custody and management of the public library and of all the property of the town relating thereto. So the legal advice I got was actually the library does have control of that library lot because it was donated to the town for a library and therefore is included in our portfolio. So the way I interpret that, and the way the New Hampshire Municipal Association, Steve Buckley, interpreted it today, was that the past kind of couple years of exercises seeking permission to do stuff on the lot is actually unnecessary. We do have control of that lot. But it doesn't necessarily change, our seeking a warrant article to actually start construction on it. We still need permission to expend money and to accept the Friends of the Library gift of any donations or building materials.
What did he say about that? Did you ask him about if it can be raise and appropriate our funds also?
Yeah, so he suggested, so here's kind of the draft that I was throwing around
Yeah.
with him. And I'm just throwing this number out as a placeholder, right?
Yeah,
it's not necessarily the
yeah.
amount, so don't freak out. Will the town vote to appropriate $100,000 for the purposes of constructing the first phase of a new library at 2 Library Road, also known as the Gray Lot, donated to the town for this express purpose? $25,000 to come from the existing Library Improvement Capital Reserve Fund, and $75,000 to be accepted as a gift from the Friends of the Grafton Library, no money to be raised from taxation. This phase will include the pouring of a concrete slab, the assembly of a barn frame, already acquired and disassembled by Fogel, a roof and exterior envelope, and then further to delegate the construction of the library to the library trustees.
And he thought that was a good approach?
Yeah, I mean, he thought that it had the check. So they said that they don't advise on, they don't advise on warrant articles because if they did, every single town would be asking them all the time.
Sure.
But it said it checks the boxes for bindingness.
I see.
But we could. That said, I mean, if we make some changes, we should.
So then
Make
do
sure.
we still have to do the whole public hearing to accept the donation, or is it, this is part of the acceptance?
I think it's part of the acceptance. I can
see.
double check on that, but
Okay.
right, because that. Yeah, I can double check on that. So those numbers are just thrown out, and that scope
They're
is
not-
just
yeah.
thrown out. But the idea is to do something on that lot next year to help build momentum. I think Fogel, you're holding on to money that needs to be spent down in a certain amount of time,
We are.
and to show progress towards our strategic plan.
It's also going to be a lot easier for us to attain more money if we have motion,
Right.
like we've seen with the meeting house.
Is it hopeless to get a library/town office building together on that land?
So that's one of the conversations I think we have to have with the selectmen and other groups is, if we go forward with this, how do we build collaboration? How do we see this as, killing multiple birds with one stone? One of the thoughts that has been thrown out in the past is that just by virtue of the library getting a new building, that means this building is open and available for some town office use, whether it's police use, whether it's tax collector, town clerk use. Still has the bathroom issue, but it's not a public building, so the capacity can be lower, and maybe the neighbors would be more amenable to some sort of easement for water line or a septic line. I think it's something that should be. I personally think it's something that should be kind of figured out as part of our package offering to, when we advertise, when we share this news and kind of seek support as a bigger plan.
It solves some problems for the town. Because I know there's been discussion about space issues and renovation over there. Right?
Good points.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
There's space, there's space issues and renovation issues over at the town offices.
is a planning board usually what kind of would spearhead some sort of discussion about buildings and
It would be nice.
Yeah, I think a good
It would be
planning.
really
not a
nice
good
if they
plan.
did.
Yeah, kind of spearheading some facility use plan. Shaping town development would probably fall under planning board.
I mean, is that something you guys could approach them on? Or,
Yeah, I think if we're looking at doing this, I think part of those conversations are going to have to be going to the other town boards and saying, here's what we're thinking. What are your thoughts?
The good news is that the current master plan is like 30 years old, I think.
36 years old.
36 years old.
We
And we're
have a master
finally,
plan.
oh yeah, the old one that was done 36 years ago is still our, technically our master plan. And back then, they even said
Well,
that
that's fine, 'cause
the
nothing
library
changed.
needed to have some space. So it had facility, it noted the facilities issues with this building. So we're finally making good on it.
Well, we didn't want to rush into it.
Yeah, we don't want to. We've got to slow our roll here.
Yeah, again, so those numbers are just thrown out there, and that scope of work is just thrown out there. It's going to depend on the appetite of our trustees. It's going to depend on the appetite of Fogel. It's going to depend on what the selectmen think. But maybe we can have that conversation quickly now, or
I mean, so my personal opinion is, and I think Fogel's opinion, is that if the town could pony up for the foundation, we could pony up for the rest of the watertight structure, which ultimately, for current day use, means no operating cost as far as heat, electricity. We could start using it now and alleviate some of the space issues we have. We could use it for Fogel events. Some of the events that we'd like to do could move over there so that we're not tying up this space. We have started having problems with scheduling at the town hall as far as it being used, which is great. It means that more stuff is happening in town, and that's a really good thing. So that was kind of the delineation I was thinking, but it's ultimately up to the trustees.
I'm looking now. Unless Leaf, you know off the top of your head, when do the selectmen have their warrant articles? When are you voting on your warrant articles?
Mid-January.
And then I think petition warrant articles are due. Is it January 10th? Is that right?
Yeah.
So the petitions are due before the selectmen.
I believe we have to have them done by the 20th of January. So they'll be on the ballots for March.
Just trying to see if I can. And one of the conversations we also had to have with the select board really is this an article that the select board puts on, agrees to put on, or is this one that has to be petitioned?
We still have only 2 select people.
Yeah, Leaf, what is
what's
the?
the plan hopefully?
By the end of the month. Hopefully.
Okay.
So you're
And
still
then they
accepting?
support?
We're still accepting applications. We've had, I think, 5.
You're kidding.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, who wants to do that?
Well, Maureen, David Hunter,
Okay.
yeah, up on Johnson Lane, can't remember his name.
That's
Up
where
on
the barn is
Cargill.
coming from.
Oh, right.
Autumn Harvest used to be up there. No, between them.
Oh, really?
Art, they had the trailer,
Yeah, yeah.
then Autumn Harvest, the trailer, I believe.
Okay.
I'm trying to.
My only issue with your warrant article is how your revolving account is worded. You may not be able to use it for that lot. Because it's for maintenance and upkeep of the library.
Yeah, so I think the legal advice given to us last time
Keep the wording changed.
was that it's up to the discretion of the trustees of the trust fund, if there's some gray area to be interpreted. Is that right for anyone who?
That was my understanding also.
And I think that was a town. Fine. Was that a town or
That
New
who
Hampshire
was
Municipal Association or?
It
it
yeah, it
here?
wasn't somebody in town. It was either
I can contact him tomorrow if you want.
legal or it was DRA.
That'd be a DRA issue.
I think it was DRA.
I think we can dig through email communication and try to find it.
I'm 90% sure it was DRA.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find the deadlines here. So,
So there
Tuesday, January 10th is the last day for voters to petition select board to include an article in the town meeting warrant. So that's January 10th. And then January 6th is the last day for voters to petition. No, that's bonds. Yeah, where's your selectmen one?
I know Sandy told her like mid-January.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not finding it, but so it looks like January 10th at least is something that.
So we need to get some adjusted budget estimates
Right.
because things have gotten so crazy.
Yep.
We used to be really good at estimating, and now things have gotten a little dicey.
So so I don't know how to exactly do this because we can't. I mean, I guess the trustees can vote to recommend an article with the spirit of like this language without the exact word, like without knowing the exact wording or numbers.
So
Like-
I would, if I were you, I would do it up to a certain amount on the town portion, the capital reserve portion.
Yeah.
And if it goes beyond that, then you guys have to go to exceed it.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Because I would assume all of you would be happy if it was less than what you estimated.
So I think we have 64,000 in our capital reserve fund. That number sounds
68.
68. Do we have estimate? So, Alice was
I have to
looking at-
say, the market has gotten so crazy. I'm really not
Okay.
as good as I used to be.
Well, Alice was looking into it, right? Do we know if she?
Who?
Alice.
Oh yes, she was looking into the foundation.
Okay.
I could probably get a decent estimate for the exterior envelope pretty quickly, but
Well, I would say so. If we have 68,000, I feel like 25,000 is. It seems like a reasonable amount of money to take away from our capital reserve fund.
it's going to be more than that. We were estimating 20,000 2 years ago, right?
For the pad.
For the bad one. I bet it's going to be closer to 35.
Yeah.
That was the quote that we got from. Right.
It's our capital reserve fund. Okay. Well, do Karen or Jeff, do you have either strong feelings about pursuing a warrant article to look at momentum, or to look at building a library, or thoughts on expending money from our capital reserve fund, or tell me what you're thinking. Is this the year to do it? Is this?
No harm in looking into it. It still feels like things are gonna be more uncertain than usual in the world and the economy and, but, yeah, we should look into it.
Yeah, I'd like to see some kind of going with this thing. Might not live long enough to see this thing completed.
Yeah.
We hear a lot
I
of
do
that.
kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
We
It's
hear a
been
lot of that.
Yeah.
10 to 15 years of discussion.
In the meantime, you know, the faster you can get this thing underway, the better, but in the meantime, I would imagine a lot of people are doing what I'm doing. I never come here, I go to other libraries
Yeah.
that are close by, that have restrooms at a minimum. You
Yeah.
know, why would anybody come here when they can just go a few more miles? So, I mean, how important is this to the town to get this thing going and to get out of this shack, which is basically what this is.
No, it is.
We love this building, but
And for a library, it's a
yeah,
shack.
it's too much. It's
You
too
know,
small.
for a
Yeah.
storage facility, it's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, and I mean,
A fine historical building is also fine, right, Andrew?
That's right.
I mean, so the barn itself. Sorry, I could go on my little soapbox, but
Well, my other question is, so with these numbers, so Fogel would have to get back to us in terms of what amount they think they can fundraise, or what amount you have in your account now, and what you can manage for next year.
yeah. I mean, we have a few opportunities we haven't tapped because things have kind of stagnated, and if we had had the momentum, we would have gone and gotten them. But we kind of put things on hold because things were in flux. So once we hit the streets, we can start again.
Does $65,000 sound like a reasonable, or I mean, we don't even know like the total amount for this kind of phase quite yet.
I mean, you mean for
What's-
the exterior envelope for what we would want to donate?
Yeah, or like what's your cap right now for?
I was thinking, yeah, it's so. Donnelly actually asked us to apply again.
Yeah.
They did 20. They can do up to 25. I wouldn't be surprised.
Donnelly?
Donnelly's the grant we got before. They gave us 20,000. We have somebody an anonymous donor who has offered us 50,000 of a 0% interest-free loan for 5 years, as long as the door's open in 5 years. No payments. We also have a few private foundations we can tap into. So we could feasibly come up with 80.
Okay.
I think it's important that you do something environmentally positive as far as heating and everything.
Yeah, so our original estimate for the barn, we used a similar space in Gilmanton. They have a library barn. So we scaled our estimates for heating off of their estimates for heating. Similar structure, construction and whatnot. But we also, there's a lot of opportunity out there for solar electric grants as well as solar heating. Solar heating has come along in the last 10, 15 years. So they don't just, it used to be that they recommended you don't use it for heating, you only use it for hot water, and that has
Yeah.
changed.
Oh, so maybe we might need some, radiant stuff in the foundation so we can't rush in
Right.
and.
So the guy who did the, sorry, I'm just taking a.
Actually, and I can
Yeah.
take a step back.
Yeah.
This feels like a lot has been planned, and
A
if
lot of
only
this
that is because this is the same plan we proposed
Yeah.
like 3 years ago
3
or
years
something.
ago.
So it's not like there's been secret planning behind.
No,
the
this
back-
has just
oh.
been on, like, we did this 3 years ago. So we actually had a timber framing expert come and talk to us, and he was the one who managed the Gillenton barn. And he recommended radiant floor also.
And the land reverts back to the heirs of the Chester and Barbara Gray in 10 years? or- No.
We had that stipulation removed from the deed.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, what if it's half done? But you had that removed. Oh. Has it been 5 years? Or
It's
6?
probably been 5 or 6 years here.
Yeah. Thanks.
I say, Dan, porta potty is full speed ahead.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So do I hear a? Let me word this. Do I hear a motion to pursue a warrant article for 2023 town meeting to appropriate funds for phase 1 of a new library up to $35,000 from our capital reserve fund? Okay. So then what we will do is make sure that so we'll work, so we'll have conversations then with the select board, once we get the wording, and seek their approval for putting on the warrant, and if they choose not to, then we will petition it, by January 10th. With the understanding that we will be having conversations with, that there's a big PR push with this, to make sure that people feel educated, and comfortable with the plan. Does that sound? So that's going to be putting a lot probably on Fogel, because you have more nimbleness than we
Yeah,
do. But
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the trustees ultimately will have to approve any sort of like newsletter or whatever that goes out,
Yeah.
just like it has been in the past. I think we should talk about possibly doing like a public meeting for question and answer, just so that you're not using up your time here
Yeah.
for that.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll reiterate, I mean, we really need to have kind of an ironclad plan for at least what happens to, the voters are going to say, what happens to the existing library? How are you going to pay for the future phases? How are you going to pay for operations? Is this just a gateway drug to a bigger library budget? So we'll have to think about those questions.
Yep.
And have people know that we care about the bottom line. We care about, this is not just a pet project.
I mean, even a lot of the volunteer events that, like I'm thinking about a few things that I want to do for the library, like a watercoloring session once a month. I'm not super comfortable doing that here because there's no way to wash up. Like, there's no way to clean the tables and like do those kinds of things. And honestly, like, so for me, even having a barn that is unfinished on the interior, 6 months of the year, I can do it over there. Because if a little bit of watercolor gets on the cement, it doesn't matter.
Or we can have book sales
Yeah, we can do our
outside
book
of
sales over there.
rainstorms.
Like they can get moved at our leisure as opposed to like in a rush, the last minute. I mean, we are carting around so much it's not garbage. So much stuff every time we do anything.
Yeah. Leaf,
It's
so
a lot of work.
because there's not much time before January 10th, you guys next meet
20th.
the 20th, and then January. I hate this time of year.
Oh, yeah. We need 2 years.
January
calendar.
3rd. January 3rd.
Yep, third.
The 20th does not leave much time, so maybe we'll plan on a presentation on January 3rd,
The 20th we're kind of full to
like that. Okay.
So January 3rd.
So I will contact Sarah to be on the agenda for January 3rd to discuss our intentions.
Great.
Does that sound? You don't.
Do
Doesn't affect you, Kate.
Do I not? Do I need to be there or no?
I would think it'd be good to have Fogel representation in case there are concerns about
Questions about
fundraising and
funding.
capacity
Okay.
and yeah.
Okay.
So. Okay.
Oh, that's
Okay.
All right.
Hello,
Really?
Well, that's great. I think that's, yeah, Jake.
What's the proposed size of the new one?
Yep. So it's 2,200 square feet.
Yeah, so this one's about 660, 60, but we're using 2 levels, so it's about, we're using about 1,300 right now. So the new space would allow us for a little bit more storage because it's kind of verticals right now. And also the mechanical room, the bathrooms, like, it really helps with a lot of things. We're also hoping for some meeting space. Some meeting space?
Yeah. So the plan is not really.
Any
I gotta go.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, work just called.
All right.
I wanted to talk to you about the cows, but we can do it later.
What's wrong with the cows?
I want to help Sarah get cows.
I shouldn't eat.
Hey, I know.
Trust me.
Somebody needs to take the cows.
If she can get them over in the our backyard, she'd have them.
You mean
Yeah. The Scottish, yeah,
The Highlanders.
I almost hit one tonight.
I know.
Love them.
Wait,
It's been-
the ones that are loose.
It's
always
been
loose?
hysterical the last like 4 days. Is it? Like
They nailed
Vanessa,
Debbie's every
and
Oh, I know.
Sarah and Megan Joyce
want those
want
cows
them,
so
and
bad.
they're like, "Why didn't you tag me?" And I was like, so I started tagging her, and she's like, "Damn it, I was sleeping." I was like, "Somebody needs to go catch the cows."
Yeah, she wants to put a bale of hay in the back of the truck and lead them
Yeah, right.
down.
Well,
Yeah, at this
the
point, it's like
owners
finders
can't keep 'em.
keepers.
Finders
right?
Yeah.
keepers, for sure,
Yeah, might as well.
for sure.
Yeah.
I feel
It's
bad for them.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So sorry.
No, it's fine.
Go.
Nobody's claiming them?
They belong to a guy who doesn't actually live here, and so he pays somebody to feed them, I guess.
He just keeps the cows.
They're
yeah,
out. These
they're
are the ones in
alone.
Fowler Town, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Kind of your neck of the woods. Have they come to your place?
Never seen any.
Oh my God.
And they
You'd
only
know.
Go up Kinsman as far
They
as
with long hair, right?
Yeah.
Scottish Highlanders,
Carol,
right?
Carolyn Emmons is
No.
there.
They're
Yeah.
beautiful
I've seen
cows.
I'm making a costume for my kids
Nice.
for next year.
You probably better get back to library.
Sorry.
But thank you for mentioning the cows.
Yeah.
All right. That's great. So all right. So we've got some stuff to do, but let's go to treasurer's report.
Okay, so you have budget versus actual
Can I interrupt for a second?
already?
Do you
Sure.
mind me doing the Fogel thing like really quick?
Oh, do you have stuff for Fogel?
Well, just to say,
Okay.
like,
Yep.
so sorry about the miscommunication. Apologies about the craft fair. So, anyways, we screwed that up, but yeah, it was really nice, and we made a decent amount of money, and our wreath event was like the most well attended it's ever been. We had something like 27 wreaths, I think, made that day. So anyways, so the next steps for us are just the lasagna event, and then supporting you guys in whatever communication you need for moving forward on the barn. So that's what we got coming up in the next 3 months, and that's it.
You should have that lasagna dinner at least twice a year. I said every month, so I'm getting better.
You're gonna. It is such a nice event. Do you know about the lasagna event? We did it. We started it during COVID, so that people could keep distance, and we did a drive-through pickup right here. So we assembled all of the lasagna dinners with salads and desserts and sparkling apple cider and a gently read book from the library, and people would pull up and we'd say, "What's your name?" And we'd bring them out their bag of dinner for two.
And there was vegan, vegetarian.
Goat cheese and something, and it just all sorts of
Oh, and
choices.
it was delicious.
Yeah, so it's a very fun little event.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, so that's all. Can I be free?
Get out of here.
Thank you.
Go home, Airbud. All right. Treasurer's
Hi
report.
to the kids
Yeah,
and Dan.
will do.
Okay, we got about $4.40 in interest.
That's actually better than Interest rates are going up, huh?
Yeah. The $1,000 donation has been deposited, thank you, into the trustees' checking. And anytime the director wants it transferred to the director's account, I will do so. The
What
three,
is it? What was that one?
the $1,000 donation, it's in trustees, but it can go to the directors. You know, it's unrestricted.
So immediately, I want to go on a shopping spree. I'm just kidding.
Go out with a bang.
Yeah.
1,000 books. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, you probably said, how much is in the director's account now? Oh, did you have it on your...
That's on mine. 413.
Oh, I see.
Thank you.
And Karen snuck that 360 in there and didn't tell me. So I didn't know it was there until I was doing the.
Oh,
the,
sorry.
it's okay.
That's the $360.77. The interest from the Barney Flanders and Ruth Leonard funds. The three trustees signed the accounting policy, and that was turned into Sarah. And we need to sign receipts, and I think that takes care of the treasurer's report. It's mostly books and some, at least one DVD and some some ear pad leather ear cushions for headphones.
The headphones we received from Dell, they came with foam pads, which isn't really hygienic to be having patrons share them. So.
Alright, well, I'll motion to... Can we just do that too? Instead of signing all the things, can we just say approve all these? It says,
Oh,
does that work?
well, let's
We can make our
let's
own
do that
ones,
next month,
Okay.
because I started
Alright.
signing
Okay.
it, which I
Alright.
probably shouldn't have. But there's only 3 pages, there's not 7
Okay.
like
Alright.
sometimes. Okay. Thank you.
Then I'll make a motion to accept all donations, however many books we got for the basement party.
Second.
47 or something, 53.
Oh, 50 second?
53.
Yeah.
53.
All right.
I wonder if I should adjust the spreadsheet so next year we have like a one that says how many we accepted actually. It's usually only like 2 or 3 out of every batch.
Oh, I see what you mean. So we reject
Yeah.
some.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of them are like 40-year-old titles that stink like basement already.
Right. Yeah.
Like how to tune up your Model A.
That'd be cool.
Next thing is just strategic plan review. I feel like because last month Susan led us through that strategic plan review and kind of where they are. I think we'll just commit to next year, every month, having a little discussion about those strategic priorities and how we're doing on them. It'll depend on who the new library director is, but we'll catch him or her up to speed with that. Other Otherwise, public comments? Jay?
Just one thing comes to mind. Is this the entire, like, operating budget?
Yeah, so our operating budget is almost that $20,000 figure, with 3,000 of that, which comes from, we call it our gross basis. So that's like donations, the interest we make from our capital reserve, or from our trustee of the trust fund account, and our library held trust funds, and then revenue from like book sales and printing. So this year the budget was essentially $17,000. Yeah.
Do we need to talk about cake day, or is that kind of a, it's
kind
just
of
up in the air,
moot
right?
point now.
I went down in the cellar or the basement, whatever you call it, to see what it was like. Would they have cake day down there? I thought it would be fieldstones and cobwebs and like a dirt floor. Well, I may exaggerate a little bit, but it's perfectly pleasant down there. And if someone were to donate, it wasn't always. I never saw it before.
Lynn, Sharon, and I spent 3 hours each cleaning it together.
Well, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
If someone were to donate a few $100s or to donate a table and, I don't know, some small niceties, could people have cake day down there or something? We could call it like bootleg cake or something, or the speakeasy or the cake easy or something.
That's a really cute idea.
We probably could. I think the challenge, I mean, this sounds kind of ridiculous in a small town, but the basement's not coded for assembly or gathering space. It's storage space because of the egress issues. So, yes, it probably could, but, yeah. That was one of the things I was looking at November's minutes, and we said we'd have a conversation about any compromises or anything that was reached after last month's meeting, but I don't know if that kind of got backburnered because of your resignation or Thanksgiving.
Honestly, Andrew, I feel like I had very cordially offered them the library as a meeting space outside of open hours, and I feel like that's a really good compromise.
Yeah.
And while I can understand them saying that they also want to have access to library services and also be a community event, there's other ways around that, and it, you know, I was getting feedback and selling from the community that it's doing well. So, I didn't think that there was a good compromise if we were going to have to adjust operating hours to accommodate them. You know?
Yeah, I did tell Debbie and Booney that they didn't seem to be very compromising in any of their conversations. They pretty much just reinforced that they were going to have it at that time, and that was the only time that worked for them. And
Which I can understand, but it is a taxpayer-funded building, and these are services that all patrons should be able to feel comfortable accessing.
have they actually had a Cake Wednesday event since the 17th or whatever that last meeting?
I don't believe there's been cake, but I think the group is still meeting here.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, something I was thinking about, I mean, which doesn't matter anymore, but, you know, maybe that's something that, as long as we're in this small space, you know, maybe we do need to have some sort of policy about reoccurring meetings. You know, they need to be, you know, you know, if like a couple neighbors want to, hey, do you want to meet at the library at 7 o'clock today? And, but if it's feeling like it's monopolizing the shift, that's
Yeah.
an issue.
Yeah, formalized during open hours or something like that.
And I also do want to say I I would like you guys to think about making sure that Fogle doesn't host meetings during open hours too.
Yeah.
Cause we do have a policy about that.
Yeah.
So, that's my piece, and I don't mean to be grumpy about it.
Oh, you're not grumpy.
Just a little comment on this, I would assume that any new library to be built would have, like most libraries, partitioned off meeting rooms where
Right.
people can do
Wouldn't that
their
be
stuff
nice?
and not disturb others.
Yeah.
In a library like that, no problem. Here, it's a problem. The tail should never wag the dog, ever.
No, I would love to be able to offer them a back room or something.
Yeah, but you don't have that here. So that's why I'm saying the new one would
Yeah.
have that.
we
You'd
could
be able to
offer
do
them a
that.
cake easy in the basement.
There you go. Yeah, right now, the only partitioned off room you've got is the
Yeah.
basement that you already checked out. You thought it was pretty nice down
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It's nicer than my basement.
there.
Now.
Are we
And
gonna see
you know,
your
my
basement?
house is like 30 years old, and this place is how old?
100,
Like
101.
101.
I should have taken pictures because I'm really bad at taking before and after pictures, but they're so necessary.
Jake, I was gonna ask about possibly meeting for chess, or is that an issue? Is that any thoughts on that?
So we have a policy about using the library as a meeting space, but as long as the trustees approve. You could even ask to be a volunteer to host a chess club or something.
Yeah, I'd say we've tried lots of new
Yeah.
clubs and activities to try to get people in outside of library hours.
Was that done before in the past? Was everything?
Like a chess club in particular.
We hosted like a board game night, but nobody came.
Oh, can we try it again?
Sure, Karen.
I like board games.
Yeah, so I'd say in the new year, Jake, let's talk about it. And especially if you know of people who want to do that, that's what I think makes a successful program, right? Is if there's a base of people. I think that'd be great. Yeah.
Move to adjourn.
Seconded.
Third.